we are for another magical woman discussion. Sarah Dalesandro, thank you so much for being here. We've been friends for a couple years now, something like that.
Yes. Thank you for having me, Charis. Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Yeah, I love the friends that you can meet online in these times because all of us little magical folk would think that we were the only ones, and the
I
internet
know.
has linked us up. So I'm having you on today, Sarah, and thank you for being here. Much, much, much gratitude, because you are someone who has studied many shamanic paths and practiced them for a good minute, had actual results in your real life, and especially the fact that you have acquired so many different methodologies and so much knowledge and wisdom. And it's not even like you like do sessions for people for now, like you're a mom for littles, and that's and an artist, make amazing art.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so, yeah, the fact that you do all this work just for yourself, just in your life, not to post online, not to say that you did it, not to get paid for it because you're doing work for someone, but just because it's your path, I think is hugely inspiring. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that you hold that space. Thank you. So for all of the people kind of coming online or just wanting to connect with more like mine, so often people are like, where are the people like us? And my answer is, we're everywhere. We're just at home. We're all
Right.
over the place.
Yes,
We just
we
like to be
are.
introverts. So tell me about your relationship with your spirituality. What is it like for you? How do you tune up? How do you know that you're connected or not? Anything you'd like to wrap on, I'd love to hear.
Sure. So I had a really big spiritual awakening in 2009. And I know for everyone that's different, and the timing of that is different. I think a lot of people are probably going through some very difficult times, obviously, right now, that can initiate deep spiritual exploration. And so for me, that was a very dark time that was a catalyst into my spirituality. And it really started with a simple phrase of, how alive am I willing to be? I felt like I was on a spectrum, and I was either going to move towards being numb, and I was going to become more numb and less alive and less vibrant and just denser, I guess, or I was going to go the other way on the spectrum, and I was going to become lighter and feel more and be more alive. And I just made a choice where I was like, I have to do everything I can to make sure that I'm moving the right way on the spectrum. And so that's where it started. And I didn't care originally, and I still don't care really, like where any kind of information like hails from or comes from. I just want to know, like, what is it? What's the methodology, and then does it work? And like you and I were just talking about, I just experiment, and then I see what works, and I keep what sticks, and what resonates and what doesn't just kind of falls away. And that's really my only that. And then I just, like I've talked about, I try not to clamp my mind on things too much, and I try to remain as open as possible and not close my mind on specific I want to say methodologies again, but maybe there's a better word, ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just remaining open, always wanting to feel good, continually working towards feeling good, even when I feel awful, and even when I feel bad, even if it's like days on end and I'm really going through it for whatever reason, whether it's a present day thing or a really, really old thing, I just keep going. You know, they say the only way out is through it. And once you really, really realize that in your life, you just feel very inspired to continue through the forest, so to speak, and you stop trying to find shortcuts or like slides to slide down or different routes to take. And you're just like, all right, I'm here. I'm going to put one foot in front of the other, and I'm going to keep walking through the forest.
Yeah,
No matter
people
what
think
kind of
they think that spirituality is like this pretty shiny thing, because when we post, we're all pretty and shiny, and we're like, okay, this is the knowledge I got back as I was like fighting my way through the underworld.
Right.
And I'm dragging myself up back from the dead and all the things.
Right.
So that brings me to a couple questions. First, what methodologies do work for you? What are the things you go back to time and time again and that you can just trust because now you've had enough experience to know that for you, this is something that is solid?
I would say the number one thing that I use every day is the emotion code, but I'm not a practitioner and I'm not dogmatic about it in the sense that I read the book in like 2011 and then I have evolved my own practice in that way. But the concept of muscle testing to communicate with my unconscious mind, and then using a chart of emotions based on Chinese medicine to identify which emotions are trapped within my physical body or my energy body, etheric body, spiritual body, whatever you want to call it, emotional, and then using my own intention to release those emotions. I release them into a fire, or if I'm outside, I'll release them into the ground. But that's my present day daily practice that has grown over the years. And again, I did it because it was working. If it wasn't working, I wouldn't have stuck with it at all. And so I've just evolved my own muscle testing abilities and sensitivities. And so whenever again, I do it every day. It's kind of like a day, like a shower almost. I'm trying to like assess and go into my body. What is my body trying to say? Because the body is the unconscious mind. What is my inner child saying? What is my shadow saying? What is the 100 other personas within me that I have discovered over time? What are they saying? What do they want? And so there's that. And then with the shamanic journeying, I also will journey for specific events in my past or present, or soul retrieval has been really big. I bring soul parts back and then I work with them as their present day alive flesh and blood parts of me, or even friends. I treat them like I would treat my inner child. And I feel like letting myself know that all the parts of myself know that I'm here and I witness your pain. I hear your pain and I see your pain has been one of the most profound ways for me to heal. And that's not anything that anyone can do for me. I can tell everyone about my pain. I can tell like whatever kind of scenario. I can write a book, or not that I have, but like I could, or go on a talk show or whatever it is. But until I really get in the nitty gritty in there, in the inner worlds, and really work with those very, very young or shadowy or only like half parts, whatever they are, and really say that I witness you, then I don't feel like it says a deep of healing. And that's something that I actually have just recently, like within the last year, maybe come into an awareness of that I have to be the one that is really clear about how much I'm willing to witness and hold space for my own parts. Not
I love that.
Seeking someone else to do that for me.
Right. And while it's, it's nice to have people who can support you in this kind of way, really it ultimately just comes back to yourself. And so especially because, we know things about each other because we have a friendship. And so I can say that you haven't just lived your life on a pillow being carried around. Like, you've been through some actually significantly gnarly shit, and plenty of it, enough to like have stuff to have healed from and to be healed from and to know that you have healed from and gain that embodied wisdom. So here's a question for when things are a little bit more challenging, like now, like in the world, where not only in the physical world, like being afraid of germs, a specific germ, or all of the cultural shifting that must happen, but also the stuff underneath that's now coming up, and all of just the dark energy that you can go down rabbit holes with, like we've talked about. When you're looking for that inner truth, because you can so easily, when you find out the world is different than you thought, especially people who are having illusions of it's fine ripped away, and realize all over the board that it's actually not fine, nor was it ever fine. You can get lost and you can spin and be like, nothing is right, this whole place is just fucked, and that energy. So when people get there, what I'm wondering from you is how to find that inner kernel of, okay, this is me, and this is where I'm going to sit for a minute and regain my bearings, and, you know, allow myself to go through it, but also not get lost in this person's opinion or that person's opinion or this article or whatever, but be able to kind of hunker down so that then forward momentum can be created. How do you feel that gem of like capital T truth inside of you? What is your experience of it?
For me, and like real world pragmatic advice for people, especially being a mom, I think that you have to find a physical place that you can create your sacred space so that you can begin to unravel your soul, essentially. Like if you don't have a place in your house that is just yours, I don't care if it's the corner of a closet or if it's the corner of your bathroom or wherever you can find, or no kids, no spouse, whoever, dog, like can come and attack you, and you can just have a moment of a foot of space around you. Find that place and start to nourish it. And it may not be the first day or the second day or the second week, but commit to some kind of practice where you are allowing yourself to burst open when you need to, and you can find what is in there. If you don't have a safe place where you can, like, whether it's crying with your forehead to the floor or just like crying to where you feel like you can't even cry anymore or whatever, or just be really, 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 really angry, you know, whatever it is that you need, you have to have that place to really start to peel off those top layers of usually anger. Everyone usually can push the pain up into a thick layer of anger, and all you can feel is anger. You can't even feel the pain until you start to really rip that off and start to dig around in there. You have to have a place for that stuff to start to land. And I know not everyone is going to feel comfortable just running out and buying art supplies and throwing like red paint at a canvas or whatever, or just like, you know, putting a knife in the canvas or whatever you need to do. Like, I know that not everyone, you know, that takes time to get to a level where you feel comfortable exposing your own creativity. But even if it's just lighting a candle every day and having a little crystal or a piece of paper or whatever it is you need to do, you come back to that space every day. It's almost like that woman in Kill Bill. She came and she was like trying to like cut the board with her hand or her toe or whatever. You know, she came back every day and she was like, I'm going to do this, you know. You have to get to that point and decide for yourself that you want to get to the nitty gritty of who you are, you know, what's in your life, where you're pissed off, where you're sad, where you're really, really, really hurt, even if it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And you have to figure out how to honor it and how to bring it back up to the surface. And that might be through journaling or singing or talking to someone or making art. I mean, there's so many different ways to like express, but you first have to like stop your life and pause. And even if it feels like chaos and like you're tuned into a crazy radio station full of angry people, you know, you have to stop for a minute and listen to them to get them to calm down so that you can see where the pain is, because there's always pain underneath anger.
Wow. So true. So true. My brain's going off in a million directions from that. So thank you. We're out of time, of course, right? When we can talk for another hour. Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Sarah Dalesandro, and that is mainly where I am. I haven't been doing too much lately besides just mom life. But
yeah. Well, thank you for making the time. And any closing thoughts? There's so much going on in the collective. It's nice for medicine people to every now and then just like drop a little something. If you could drop something, what will you want to put out for anyone who may need that gem watching this?
You know, I know things are hard, but just keep going forward and keep going inward. When things just get more and more crazy, just go more inward. And if you find more chaos, just find ways to get it out of you.
I love that.
And then your external world should change and shift in some ways.
Sometimes it takes a minute, but it happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And
thank you.
I cannot wait to see what you come up with in the future as you keep expanding.
Thank you, dear.
Bye.
Bye.